Hello everyone, welcome back to the second part of the to-do list video. So in this video, if you have if you have watched the last video, we have created a UI using Tailwind CSS, and now we are going to implement it using first Vue.js and then using React. Okay, first let me just create a copy of this so that I have it ready for my second part also. So React. So I will have a copy of the exact same file as a React also. And let's open now the index one. This is where I'm going to implement for our Vue.js code. Okay. Now the first thing is let's create a file for hosting the Vue.js script. So let's call it scripts hyphen vue.js. Okay, so this is where we will be writing our Vue.js script. Now let's include that at the bottom. So let's go down before the closing body tag. So before the closing body tag, I will add, so I already have a code snippet. So let me just add. So what this code snippet does is it includes the Vue.js CDN, and also it adds the a script file. Now the script file is not the correct one, so let's add our script file. So scripts vue.js, and I will remove this. Okay, that is not required, and save it. Perfect. So now I have my CDN and I have my Vue.js script ready. Perfect. So now let's move on to the Vue.js part, and here we have to start writing our code. So I already have a code snippet for my Vue starter app. So this is basically just to help me out in writing out the boilerplates. So what it does is it just creates a Vue app and mounts it to the ID app. So it is expecting an ID of app inside your HTML. So let's go to our HTML and let's give this div an ID of app. So it works. Okay, so now just to check it out, we have a message variable inside our app. So let's save this, and inside our to-do list, just to verify if everything is working, we will just display this message, and you can see it shows us hello Vue. So that means our Vue.js is linked properly. Perfect. So that is done. Now we are ready to work with it. Okay, so the first things first, let's come to our Vue.js app and let's decide what all things do we need. So the first thing that we need is a place where we can store the value that is going to be entered over here. Okay, so let's call it to do item. Okay, and let's let it be blank for the time being. Okay, so that is going to be my to do item, right? Or I can say, instead of item, I can say to do text. Okay, so that should be linked over here, right? So let's take that, come to index.html and come to over the input type where it should be represented, right? So here is where the to do must be there. So let's add a v model, and let's give the v model the to do text name. So now what happens is, now this variable to do text and this input type are now binded. So whenever any one of them changes, they both will be updated. Cool. So now we have a two-way data binding. Now next thing that I need is this this table. This needs to be generated. Okay, so we need to have a list of to-dos that is required, right? So these are the to-dos. So let's put some to-dos initially so that we can work with it. So the first to-do is going to be, let's say, learn JavaScript, and it will have a completed yes or no tag. Okay, then let's say learn Vue, and let's say build something. So this is all generated by Copilot, GitHub Copilot. So I'm just pressing tab, so it is suggesting few entries. So yeah, that's it. So let's save it. And now this to do's is what is going to host our all our to do list. Okay, so instead of printing everything out, so let's come down to our table. So this is our table t body, and this is our tr, right? So instead of printing using simple html, what we are going to do is loop through the to-dos. Okay, so now to looping through to-dos uh, in Vue.js is very easy. You just add v for over here, v for, I can say, to do in to-dos. Okay, because we have to-dos, so we can add to-do over here, but we also need index of it. So let's add index, and because we can do it like this to get the index out of it. Okay, so once we have this, we can save it, and you can see the things are now repeated. So because there are 3 entries, so we are getting 3 rows. Okay, now let's work on now one more thing. Whenever you use a for loop, you should also bind a key for this. So that is a good idea. So let's add a key. So that will be index. That is the first thing. So that is out of the way. Now the next thing that we can do is add the index and show the numbers. Okay, so if I do that, you can see I get 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. So that is done. Now what? Now we want to display the to-dos over here. So let's say to do dot. Now let's look at the key. So key is text. So let's say to do dot text, and there you go. So you have learn JavaScript, learn Vue, build something awesome. Cool. So that is working. Now uh, now let's look at how to handle the buttons. Okay, so now that is done. Now let's look at how to handle the buttons part. So right now all the buttons are visible, so I want only one of these buttons to be visible, either the checked one or the times one. Okay, the cancel one. Okay, so if it is already completed, then it should be the cross one should be visible, and if it is not completed, then the checked one must be visible. Okay, so let's tackle that first now. So for that, what I can do is I can just say if, and here I can just say to do dot completed. Okay, so if the to do is completed, sorry, let us make one of them true. Okay, so that one of them is complete. So if the to do is completed is equal to true, then this will be shown. Okay, so now if it is completed, then it doesn't make any sense that we have to show the check one. So this should be not completed. Okay, so if it is not completed, then this button will be shown. Okay, and similarly I will add another condition over here. So if it is complete, so now what happens is either this or this one of the buttons will only be visible. Okay, both the buttons will not be visible. So you can see from here, it is either the cross or the tick that is visible. Perfect. And now we also have the delete button, which will be used to uh, delete the to-do list. Okay, perfect. So if you want, we can hide that also, so that it is only visible uh, if it is completed. The delete option is only visible if it is completed. That can also be done, but I think it makes sense if it is there always. Okay, so that's it. So that is done. Now right now nothing is working as such, except the buttons are visible. So now we have to start working on how this is going to work. So let's go up. So let's begin from adding the to-dos. Okay, now for that to work, so we have to understand that we have a method form over here. So there are multiple ways in which we can handle this. So because we have already have a form over here, what we can do is we can add an @submit over here, and I can do prevent so that the default action doesn't work. And here I can call a function. So now this function we have to implement, right? So this function we will have to implement. So let's come over here and implement that function. So let's come to this place and let's add methods, and let's do add to do. And everything is very simple thanks to GitHub Copilot. So everything is I'm just pressing tabs. Okay, so this is very common logic, that's why it is coming up. So basically what I'm doing is I have an array called to dos. So the only thing I have to do is this dot to dos, and push basically adds it to the end of the array. So what do I have to add? So the text that I want to add is entered in this text box, and that text box value is there in the to do text. So we just have to add that, and by default I'm making it as completed as false. And once that is added to the list, then we can clear out the text so that the next entry can be done. So I am putting it as an empty string. That's it. So that will be my to do, add to do. So now this function can be called, and we can call it over here, add to do. Okay, that's it. So now let's try it out. So let's add something, press enter, and there you go. So you have the to do added to the end. Perfect. So now my add to do is working. Now let's work on, let's go down and let's work on the the class that is creating the issue. Okay, so right now if you see, I have this class that is bg green 100 and all these things. So because of this, what is happening is everything by default, even if it is not completed, it is giving me a completed vibe, right? So I have to remove this. First of all, I will remove this and I will save it. So now it looks something like this. Now we actually had two different styles for the odd and even rows. So let's add that now. So odd bg orange, I think it was 50, and for even it was bg orange 100. Okay, so these were the two colors. So now you see I get that alternating colors for my table. Perfect. And here I also need this style that I just removed, but it will be only applicable for the tasks which are completed. Okay, so let's take it to the end. So let me take this from here, and I will put that style at the end so that it remains separate. Okay, now once this is done, now if I save it, you can see it creates an issue. The issue is that the styles are, this style is getting uh, rejected. Okay, so it is not getting applied. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to add a condition over here. So let's see how to do that. So first thing, I cannot add any condition over here or any JavaScript code over here unless I bind it. Okay, so I have to bind this parameter, and to bind it I just have to add colon in front of it. Now, once I add colon in front of it, now any valid JavaScript can be put inside this text. Okay, so let me remove all this thing from here, and let's add a little bit of JavaScript inside this template tag, and let's just check if to do dot completed. So if it is completed, so if it is true, then I'm going to do something else, I'm going to do something else. Okay, so let's see how to do that, right? So first of all, I have to find out what is going to be the common styles. Okay, so out of these things over here, the common is going to be my text orange. So text orange is going to be my common. So whether it is this or that, text orange is going to be there, right? So let's add it before it. Okay, and then what we will do is we will come over here, and here I will add like this, and when it is not completed, so if it is not completed, I will do this. Okay, else if it is completed, I will do that. Okay, so this is my simple logic. So what this is doing is, so this text is going to be common, text orange 700, and the remaining text, that is either this style or the other style, that is green and line through, only one of them will be active based on whether the to do is completed or not. So let's save it, and you can see now only the first one is active, and the other two doesn't have any active uh, state. Okay, now that is solved. Now the thing is, I have two buttons. When it is clicked, it should make that particular to do active, right? So let's tackle that now. So when this button is clicked, so at the rate click, I should do prevent. So by chance, if any form is there, and that should not be submitted, right? So I want to uh, act, activate this to do, right? So if it is this is for the check mark, right? So this is for the first one, will be for the check mark. So if it is if I click on this check mark, that particular to do must be marked completed. Okay, so I will have another method, let's call it mark complete completed. Okay, so let's say mark completed, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the index of that particular to do. Okay, and then this index I'm going to take, and that index to do I'm going to make it toggle. Okay, basically I'm just toggling uh, the index value. Okay, so either I can do it like this, that is mark completed, and make this as true. Okay, so this will be true. I can do this, right? So now when I click on this button, that particular element will be marked completed. So let me just do that. So mark completed. So if I click this, okay, I have to pass the index. I forgot to pass the index. So let's pass the index. And now if I pass, you can see I get the I am marking it complete. Cool. So this is one way, and you can create one more function for mark incomplete. Okay, maybe something like that, and I can have false. Okay, so this is one way of doing it. Or you can have a toggle function. Okay, so you can have a toggle function, and here itself you can pass the index and true and false. So whether you want to make it complete or false, right? So that way also you can do it. So it is completely up to you how you want to do it. Okay, so I will use this approach. So over here I will just say @click dot prevent, and here I will just run this command with the index. Cool. So now I have this event ready. So now if I click on this, the completed event will be marked incomplete. Okay, so if I click on this, it will be marked complete. Okay, so that is it. Now the few more things left is to remove the to do, right? So I want another function to remove to do. That is going to be very simple. A simple function of splice will do that. Okay, so splice is a way of removing any particular element from an array with the index and the number of elements. So I'm saying passing the index and I'm saying remove one element from it. Okay, so this is the function I want to run. So let's come over here, come to the button which deletes it, and again I just have to do click dot prevent, and here I will remove the to do with the index over here. That's it. So I can do delete, delete, delete. Okay, now this is perfect. Now there is one little thing that is left. Actually two things are left. First of all, when there is no to dos, it should show me that there are no to dos, right? So that should be the UI, right? It should not be something like what we are seeing over here. So for that, what we can do is we can have a tr, another tr with a td, and here we can have a call span of 3, so which is going to span all the 3 columns, and here we will say no to dos left, please add using the above form. Cool. Okay, so now this is what it looks like. Okay, so now the styles and everything should be the same. So I will copy the same styling from here. So text orange. So I want text orange over here. So let's add class text orange, and let's add bg of orange 100. Okay, that's it. And we also need text center. Okay, so that everything is in the center. And I think one more thing is missing, that is p of 3. Sorry, that should be added in the td. Okay, so padding of 3 so that everything looks a little better. And also I would like to have the bottom rounded. Okay, so rounded lg, but only the bottom part. Okay, cool, that's it. So this is my I think padding must be 2. Yeah, 2 is perfect. So now this is going to be my no to-dos UI. Okay, but I don't want it to be displayed when there are to-dos, right? So I will add a v-if over here. V if to-dos. Okay, so to-dos dot length is equal to 0. Okay, so if the length is equal to 0, then this will be shown. Let's try it out. So let's remove this, and remove this, and now you see no to-dos left. Please add using the above form. Perfect. So now I can add something and it goes away. Perfect. So that is the that part. So only thing left is the stats. So this stats should be updated automatically based on how many to-dos are pending. So let me just refresh, and you can see the to-dos right now doesn't reflect because we have not done anything. So let's work on that now. So for that, we will the best approach would be to implement it using a computed property. Okay, so let's do that. So let's make a computed property. Okay, and let's call it remaining, and so it is just going to filter out. Okay, so I just want to find out how many to-dos are remaining, right? Let's add that, and let's see what is the logic. Okay, so I'm going to filter out. So what are the remaining that is the whatever is the uh, to do's which are still not completed. So we are just finding out the length of it. Okay, so we get this. Now let's find out how to show that. Okay, so let's come over here and let's see. So over here we are saying to do's pending and one completed. Okay, so let's show over here remaining. Okay, so that's it. So now it shows two to do pending. If I mark one complete, you see I get one to do pending. Perfect. I also need one more computer property for completed. So um, so I will find out completed one. So it will be the same logic. Okay, but in the reverse form. Okay, so that's it. And actually I could have just subtracted also, but anyway, so that is the logic. So I can show the completed ones also. Okay, so now here right now I can see two to do pending, one completed. If I mark this, it shows me one to do pending, two completed, and if I mark this, it shows zero to do pending and three completed. Perfect. So that is it. So this is our final application. So let me just give it a refresh and let's zoom it in and let's check this out. Okay, so this is our final app, and let's add a few more entries. Okay, so I have added two more entries and let's mark them complete. Cool, so everything is working perfectly, and once it is complete we can delete them. Perfect. So that's it. So this is how we have created to-do list app using Vue.js. Now in the next part, we will be implementing the same app using React.js.